could be the one to dethrone the dynasty, to end it? Two of them, that's what it is.
Yes. I mean, we'll never see this run again, Jim.
Brady's pass is intercepted and returned for a touchdown by Logan Ryan, the former Patriot.
It is now official. Tom Brady will be leaving the New England Patriots.
Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots are parting ways.
The Patriots officially fired Gerard Mayo, so he's a one-and-done coach.
The Patriot era, the Patriot dynasty is over.
Mike Vrabel fired by the Titans. I don't know. I think that's a really stupid move by the Titans. Mike Vrabel has had insane amounts of success with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback.
I agree. The New England Patriots and Mike Vrabel have reached agreement for him to become the next head coach of the New England Patriots.
They have a quarterback in place that people love, Drake May. I think people generally saw very positive things. They have $130 million in cap space, and they have the 4th pick in the draft.
This is why the Patriots are difficult and have a really broad range of outcomes, because there's so much might about them. Their receivers might be good. Their offensive line might be fine. Drake May might take a huge step forward. There's also the flip side of that, which is what if none of that happens.
Split up. Here's some pressure on Darnold. Quickly gets it out, and it is picked off by Devin McCourty. Here they go again. Picked off on and on. Pressure off the edge. Floater, and another interception, and it's Gilmore.
Seeing ghosts.
Controversy regarding the mic'd up audio of him saying that he was seeing ghosts. You know, seeing ghosts is just code word for I'm flustered, and they got me seeing things that aren't real, and things that are real, I'm not seeing them clearly.
Seeing ghosts. Sam Darnold last night had the equivalence of his butt fumble game.
Sources tell the insiders that Sam Darnold is closing in on a deal to land with the Seattle Seahawks. Traded Geno Smith a couple days ago.
He's not as good of a quarterback as Baker Mayfield, and I don't think he's as good of a quarterback as Geno Smith. Feels to me like this is a mistake.
Seeing ghosts.
Seeing ghosts.
I see dead people.
Darnold to throw. Back, and throws. It's a touchdown!
What a throw! Off the back foot! The 28-yard dagger! To Hunter Henry. This is what MVP players do. They take over the game when the game's on the line.
Guess who? Jackson Smith in Jimbo.
Herbert drops back, he's pressured, and he's followed by Wilkie Williams.
Now, coming into the season, you were an afterthought to the Rams, to the 49ers. How did it feel to go through both of those teams to earn your trip to the Super Bowl?
We did not care.
Second and goal. Baldwin sets up on the left. Play clock at 5.
Yes, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast of Jackson and Kyle. I am Jackson, and I'm joined here, as always, by the man who hopes Sam Darnold will be seeing ghosts on Sunday. Kyle, how's it going?
Doing fantastic. Got literal chills. Incredible video as always. And we are here. We're at the Super Bowl. And not only is it the Super Bowl, the Patriots will be playing for the Super Bowl this Sunday. So we are all very excited. I know I am especially. And I know the rest of the world is excited to watch the Patriots. So how are you doing?
Yeah, kind of threw us all in there with that. No, I'm doing great. I'm pumped up to talk the Super Bowl. Kyle, after last year, I said, I think I'm going to retire to trailers. Takes a lot of time to do, but I figured last time doing this show and if you're teaming in the mix, had to make one last trailer.
Yeah, and it's it's awesome too because we just talk about the storylines that were just brought up in that video alone. You mentioned obviously this is the rematch, of 11 years ago when these two, or 12 years ago, sorry, when these two teams faced off. 11 or 12. Anyway, yeah, these two teams faced off very recently in a Super Bowl. First off, But those were two wildly different teams. Nobody's on the team at that point from either of those sides.
Yeah.
And we talk about the journey both of those teams went through from there to now. Obviously, the Patriots won two more Super Bowls after that one, had this whole dynasty thing, had this 20 years of excellence that's then blew up and have since restarted. And then the Seahawks on the other end, 2 years ago, it was I think from outsiders, it was controversial to fire Pete Carroll at the time, who had brought the Seahawks their only Super Bowl as a coach, had done a lot for the culture of that organization, all that kind of thing. And, all of a sudden, 2 years later after that, Mike McDonald has him in this spot and, Pete Carroll's out of a job again. So, I mean, just the journey both of these franchises have went through from there to now is so fascinating.
Yeah, it is. This has been obviously that last Super Bowl, a lot of people felt like that could have been a dynasty for the Seahawks had they maybe ran the ball and gotten the first down instead of throwing it, or maybe just, convert to play, right? Get the touchdown there. Perhaps they're the ones that we're talking about as the team of the 2010s instead of the Patriots. Now, who knows, right? But that's what some people say. So it is fascinating. There are so many storylines, and it's just kind of fun. I mean, listen, I know a lot of people don't like the Patriots. It's mostly due to the fan base. Not you, Kyle. You're great. But there are not. I'm sure you are aware there are some not great Patriots fans out there. But ultimately, these are two really well-run organizations with really good coaches, and it kind of just they built their teams the right way, and have both found success.
Yeah. Both found success very quickly because obviously the Patriots are coming off a 4-win season last year, turned this thing around with a new coach, heavy spending off season. And then the Seahawks, obviously, they made a huge risk and a huge change at quarterback in the offseason. I was even one that was skeptical of it. I didn't like it at the time. And obviously the coaching change from the season before. And 2 years later, that quickly worked out. All of it sort of worked out. And we're at this point now. They traded DK Metcalf in the offseason, which was also a controversial thing. Then they just went and got, it turned out they had the best offensive player in football this season in-house. So both of these teams had very interesting and fascinating off seasons where they took some risks. And, it's only fitting that they're both here together because, I think you could talk about both of those in parallel.
Right. Even as the one kind of defender of that Sam Darnold move, even I was not even really a defender for the right reasons. I was kind of like, well, he's younger than Gino. So even, similar player, younger, at least it gives you more time to build. I didn't think that they would just be in the Super Bowl the next year. I don't think anyone did. It's quite impressive. Kyle, let's set up what we're going to do here. We're going to spend all 60 minutes here. I guess I already burned through a few with that trailer, but we're going to spend, roughly an hour talking about the Super Bowl, previewing it. We're gonna get fully into everything. At the end of the show, I will give my prediction for who I think will win because Kyle, I do have 1 point lead right now. So whatever with not your best conference championship performance gives me the lead. If I can correctly pick the Super Bowl, I will be champion. If not, then you will take the crown and win back to back.
I would love to win back-to-back, and it sets me up to not have to pick against the Patriots, so I'm all for it. And good luck to you on that one. And let's get into it. A lot to talk about with this game.
Sure. Where do you want to start with this one?
I think we talked about the offseason and all that. I think the talk has to start with the quarterbacks of this game. I think that's the most important part for both of these teams. We talk about, Drake May this season, the big reason for the Patriots turnaround in the regular season, winning 14 games, is they had the number one offensive EPA in the league. They were that good in the regular season, throwing the ball, running the ball, doing all these different things. And a lot of it started with Drake May, what he was able to do in the passing game. He is one of the top 2 MVP candidates for a reason. So I think it starts with him on the Patriots offense, because for all the things I just said that were really good about Drake May in this offense, it's been the complete opposite of that in the postseason. In their 3 games, they played 3 really good defenses. They struggled with all 3 defenses in a lot of ways. They ended up hitting some explosives in that Texans game. That got that game a little bit, that got them out of the reach of that one. The other 2 games, they really didn't have a lot going for them throughout and had to kind of slog their way to those wins. So can Drake May kind of refine his regular season form is going to be the big thing for New England. And on Seattle's side, Sam Darnold's going the opposite way. He was great in the regular season. I shouldn't say that, the opposite direction. He was great in the regular season still. He had a fantastic season. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but he's been even better in the postseason. He's been very careful with the football, along with making some big time throws. He's, almost halved his turnover worthy play rate, or even more than halved it. And I think that's a big part for Seattle's success on the offensive side of the ball, where they've put up a ton of points and look pretty comfortable in their 2 playoff games. So I do think these 2 quarterbacks are the biggest part of this game.
Yeah, because like Darnold, I mean, Darnold's given you positives in basically every game he's played. The only ones he hasn't have been the games where like he's thrown 12 times because they've like blown the brakes off their opponents. He's always going to give you the positive. He also led the league in turnovers this season, and a part of that is you have to play all 17 games to lead the league in turnovers, right? There are some guys who had more turnovers per game than him, but still, he is someone who that was, I think, a reasonable concern heading into these playoffs. He hasn't turned the ball over this postseason in 2 games, and only 1 turnover-worthy play. That was a fumbled snap, which he himself recovered. So it's not like he's been lucky. He's been better at that this postseason. I think the question is like, how much do we want to take away the small sample size of the playoffs versus the bigger sample size of the regular season? I think we all agree that the playoffs matter more, and there does tend to be something towards if you play well in one playoff game, you might play well in another playoff game. But also, like, like Drake May's been awesome this season. Sam Darnold's been up and down. Are we just all being idiots by assuming that Sam Darnold's going to be better than Drake May in this game?
I mean, the trend would say that he is, though. Like, it's not controversial at this point to say that Drake May needs to prove it to him in the postseason. I mean, I think that's fair. And, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt for his first postseason run. It's not all going to be pretty. And like I said, he has made some really good plays still in the postseason. A couple of those Texans throws were big time. He made the throw against the Chargers for that 1 touchdown. That was big time. He even had a throw in that Denver game. That was a nice throw. But the rest of that game, obviously not as pretty. And he's been really great with his legs. His scrambling, for all of his issues with throwing the ball, he's been really good scrambling in this postseason too. So it hasn't been like disastrous, but it hasn't been nearly good enough, and not to the level of what Darnold's played. Because like you said, the biggest thing with Sam Darnold when we came into this postseason and the Seattle Seahawks team was every time we've seen Sam Darnold in a big game, it feels like he's just fallen a little bit short. And like you said, that turnover stuff has been a problem for him in the past. He was, you mentioned led the league in turnovers, which, plays a part in it, but he was also 6th just in general in turnover worthy play rate for this season. So he had his issues just as it was. And a part of that was how much he struggled under pressure this season, which is going to be a big test for him against New England. But overall, yeah, I mean, that's going to be the big thing is he has proven it so far in these 2 postseason games where Drake hasn't. So the recent trend is Sam Darnold should be prepared for this moment, but Drake May is also talented enough that he can show out and, show his stuff in this game too.
Yeah. I'll say this too. Sam Darnold, not a photogenic guy. I was going through trying to find clips of him. It was tough to get. He was very like, remember the Seahawks punter that threw a touchdown and had like the silliest look on his face when he did it in the conference championship a while back? That's pretty much Sam Darnold on every pass. It's I can see why usually a lot of the highlights are like, the back of the helmet.
Yeah, he's got some Manning face to him. He doesn't look like a Manning, but like just some Manning face tendencies is what I'd say.
Yeah, I think that hurts. I think that maybe if he was, I don't know, like him and Baker Mayfield, like the aura is just different. That's the only reason why people like Baker more than Darnold.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Baker better looking. That's why he's better.
Darnold's a good looking guy. He just like he can't keep. He's like AI trying to like show a happy face every time you see him.
Yeah. We're like baseball scouts right now, like old '90s baseball scouts. Which one looks better in pants? That's the question.
Yeah, right, exactly. Let's get into first off, also this is while we're being silly. Patriots they're going with the no-name defense. Kyle, that's already a thing. The undefeated Dolphins were the no-name defense. You can't just pick another like. The Baltimore Ravens can't pick our defense is the steel curtain. Like you can't pick another team, especially when it's a division rival.
I didn't even hear about this, but like, I don't know, whatever. Like, there's clearly not no names. I mean, they have all pros on this team, so that's a little more difficult to say. Yeah, I got nothing for that. Okay. It would have been funny if they said Legion of Boom or something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. At least this was in the distance 50 years ago. Kyle, I mean, the question is, so I find the Patriots secondary against the Seahawks really interesting because you look at Jackson Smith-Njigba, elite guy, no one can cover him. Rashid Shaheed, elite speed, no one can keep up with him. Cooper Kupp, elite route running and really good physicality on those key third down situations. No one can stop that. Well, the Patriots have an elite corner in Christian Gonzalez who can go up against Smith-Njigba. They have Carlton Davis, who's a really physical in corner and can match up against Cooper Kupp, and Marcus Jones, who's a speed guy who can match up with Rashid Shaheed. It's very fascinating because it's almost like New England has everything that they would want. The only question is who's going to win in those situations.
Yeah. In theory, you have the one-on-one matchups you want, but that's easier to say in theory than actual execution because you can still lose on the outside. And if you lose on the outside in man coverage, you're going to get burned, which we saw the Patriots happen to them in that Denver game where they got the big pass play that led to their only touchdown in that game. So that is the risk you run when you play man coverage in that sort of style, especially against a team as potent and explosive as the Seahawks offense. So that is going to be the fascinating matchup. And the big thing, like, New England's defense has been fantastic this postseason. Obviously, that's been a lot talked about, how good they've been in these postseason games, how much pressure they're putting on quarterbacks to make big-time throws has been really important. But they have played incredibly aggressive, especially downfield passing. And it's going to be a huge job not only of those corners in those one-on-one situations, but also Jalen Hawkins and Craig Woodson in those situations to communicate at all times and be prepared for those downfield passes. Because if the pressure doesn't get home on Darnold, he has already proven in the postseason he can make those passes downfield. And Jackson Smith-Njigba is just elite at it. So, and Rashid Shaheed is elite at the downfield passing game too. So, you know, for you were daring Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud, Jared Stidham to make those throws, and you won because of that. You dared them to make the throws, and they couldn't. If you're giving up touchdowns and you're losing, if you dare Sam Darnold and these guys to make those plays, because they're capable of making it more than anything you've seen this season, including games against Buffalo and all that. They haven't seen an offense that can throw the ball downfield like this.
Yeah, and I know Christian Gonzalez is awesome and all that. I just don't know if anyone can stop Smith-Njigba one-on-one. Like, I think, like, no matter who you put on him, I think you have to have help there. I think that you just need to pay more attention to that. See, I don't know. I feel like that's something that I guess it's possible. Again, Super Bowl predictions are hard, right? Like, we're all talking about possibilities, but who knows? It's possible Gonzalez can kind of, limit him or shut him down, but it feels far more likely that if they leave him on an island, it's similar to, I remember the Rams-Bengals Super Bowl, right? Where it's like Jalen Ramsey on Jamar Chase. It's like, oh, well, Jamar Chase beating everyone, but let's put Ramsey on him. Jamar Chase beats him. Like, at a certain point, you got to just say the elite receiver is too good for anybody.
Yeah. And it's a big problem. And I mean, even if you just go through the matchups, like you mentioned, Cooper Kupp, Carlton Davis feels like the natural matchup there. Well, Cooper Kupp plays a lot in the slot compared to Rashid Shaheed. So is Carlton Davis going to be comfortable playing man-to-man in the slot situations? I don't know if he's going to be as comfortable in those spots. So then that leaves Marcus Jones potentially in that situation. It does feel like Cooper Kupp has the ability to kind of bully Marcus Jones in those spots and get, kind of just use his body to his advantage. Whereas then you got Shaheed stuck on the outside against Carlton Davis. That's a speed mismatch that New England's going to have to address too. So even just going across the roster, like, you think you have options, you think you have counters, but there's also these are also really good players on the other side of the ball. So that's becoming a problem too, as it is. And like you said, it all starts with Jackson Smith-Njigba in this offense. We have just seen so many games how many games have we seen where it feels like, oh yeah, Smith-Njigba had 13 catches for 130 yards. And it's like, oh, the next receiver had 3 catches. It's going to be very interesting. And then, you even just go down the list, like AJ Barner's another guy who can catch the ball. He's explosive out of the tight end spot. Patriots use their linebackers pretty exclusively to defend the run, and Christian Ellis and Robert Spillane. They are not big coverage guys. Who is going to handle that matchup too? All of those are things they're going to have to answer. Is that Craig Woodson in that spot, meaning a single high safety, which just feels really dangerous against Smith-Njigba? I mean, all of that is things that they're going to have to address.
I mean, this is part of why the Seahawks are playing in the Super Bowl, right? They have so many different guys, and even Kenneth Walker, especially when you get into zone coverage and you open yourself up to these screen passes, right? He's been really explosive in that side of things. And for the Seahawks, they're not just gonna if you're playing man coverage, I mean, they're just going to run the ball a lot. So, right. So the Seahawks are going to run the ball a lot. New England's also going to have to try and play some zone, I think, to just keep everything in front of them. And in doing that, that's when you can open up these zone busters as well for Clint Kubiak, which he's been good at all season, which is how someone like A.J. Barner can often get schemed open.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you said, this team is really good for a reason. It has the counters. But yeah, so I mean, if it does turn into a man-to-man situation, like you said, Seahawks are going to have opportunity to run the ball. However, they have to win up front to run the ball. And that is probably the one thing that the Patriots are banking on, is that if they do try and run the ball and establish that ground game because they're in so much man coverage, the Patriots have won against everybody up front this postseason, including a Denver Broncos offensive line that was one of the best in the league. We saw Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, Kalavion Chason, Kyrus Tonga, Harold Landry might be able to play during the Super Bowl, which would be a huge add. Robert Spillane, Christian Ellis at the linebacker spots. When all those guys, when their first unit is on the field, they are really good against the run and just really difficult to find those explosive plays. Whereas on the other side, Kenneth Walker has just hit so many of those big plays and been such an effective weapon, either catching the ball out of the backfield or running the ball out of the backfield in different situations. So winning that one too is just going to be a huge thing where, yes, Walker has got his numbers and has looked fantastic this postseason, but New England feels like they have a lot of answers for that up front.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I think the biggest advantage for New England in this game is their interior defensive line going up against the Seahawks offensive line. You already brought up the Patriots players. The interior for Seattle, you have Gray Zabel as the left guard, Jalen Sundell as the center. They're both fine. They're not stars. They're okay. Anthony Bradford's just not very good at the right guard position, which also hurts the other two. So, like, if it's 3rd and 1, they're trying to run up the middle, it's just not going to go well. And I also wonder if the pass rush, if that can be a thing for New England. Can they get some pressure up there? Because we have seen Darnold struggle. It's the whole thing, right? Where people used to always say Brady's one weakness is getting pressure up the middle. And then people were like, yeah, that's everyone's weakness. But it's the kind of thing with Darnold too, right? You get pressure up the middle, you can definitely fluster him.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of quarterbacks are going to struggle in that situation. And that's been, that was something that was a struggle with Sam Darnold early in his career. He's gotten better at a lot of his stuff, but I mean, it's still an issue. And, these tackles for Seattle are very good in Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas, but even they don't have, if Harold Landry does play, they don't have the easiest matchup either with him and Chason out there. So it's not like they're going to be able to help out too much inside for their guys. And I mean, yeah, we've just seen Milton Williams and Tonga and Barmore be able to get after opponents and get what they want. I mean, we saw Barmore had a big sack against Quinn Miners, who's an all-pro guard last in the AFC Championship game. Milton Williams has just been one of the best defensive players in the postseason, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just have all of those guys, and they bring Spillane and Ellis, who just feel like maniacs when they're blitzing too. Those guys can all get after it and cause pressure. And that's going to be the thing New England's banking on, because if they're in this man formation, if they're sending pressure, they have to get to Darnold. They have to continue to get the pressure that they've gotten all postseason on quarterbacks. They have to get in Darnold's head, and they have to force him into mistakes.
Here's my concern, Kyle. With all that being said, Charles Cross, Abraham Lucas, the two tackles for this team, very good. Both can run, block, and pass protect very well. Patriots aren't great on the edge. They have some guys who can give you meaningful reps. But again, if Harold Landry doesn't play, Kalavion Chason might be their best player. You have Enfery Jennings as well. There's not nobody. And again, I think Harold Landry will try to. It's a Super Bowl. I feel like you're going to suit up and give something, right? As long as you physically can. So I think he'll be out there to some degree. But again, if he's not 100%. I'm not sure if you're going to get consistent pressure off the edge. And the other thing that would concerns me even more is Clint Kubiak loves these outside runs. He is not someone who has he's not going to just run up the middle left and right. In fact, he rarely does. He usually likes to go. They have more of an outside zone scheme. The outside zone, I think, is probably their most commonly ran play. It's not necessarily going to be Milton Williams making the plays because he might not be getting near the play. And instead, now you have Kenneth Walker going on the outside with Charles Cross blocking Kalavion Chason, and now a cornerback has to make a tackle, right? When you're also thinking about covering Jackson Smith-Njigba before the play starts. That just seems like a big way Seattle could have an advantage here.
That's what they're gonna be. That is what they're banking on, right? That is their bread and butter, like you said, that outside zone play, and it's honestly playing to their strengths because they have two really good offensive tackles, and they have a great, running back on the edge too. He is so good outside the numbers; it's unreal. He's just so difficult to tackle. So it is very much the case, like I said though, the interior has been really good for the Patriots, but truthfully, the ability to defend the run this postseason has been largely an entire team effort. And, I think, a couple guys we shouted out on the awards show for the AFC playoffs MVP are Craig Woodson at the free safety spot and Carlton Davis at the corner spot. They've been very, very good at stepping up and making tackles in those run situations or on screen situations. They're bigger players for their position. They're not afraid to go downhill. And, Spillane and Ellis are also been covering ground on the edge too and getting to those spots and making big time plays or just forcing the running back to the middle where your best players are on that interior defensive line. So it's going to be really important for those guys to step in and help out because, yes, they have those guys in the edge. Hopefully Harold Landry is able to play. But truthfully, the Patriots are set up. They want those guys paying attention to the quarterback. They want Chason and Landry's eyes on the quarterback virtually at all times. So that means the other guys really have to step up and help on those outside running plays.
Yeah, and right. Which is part of why I think stopping the run is so important in this game. If you can get consistency, you don't have to. You can give up first downs on the ground, right? Like you can let that happen. You don't want to give up the big plays, and you just want to try and again for Seattle, they're very much they're not necessarily you can't go broke making a profit type of offense. It's weird because you don't think of them as an explosive offense, but it does feel like they're either gaining 8 yards or losing 6 yards on every play, right? Like it feels like they have this way of part of these outside runs. Part of the advantage is if Carlton Davis does break through and make a quick tackle, you're losing 4 yards. Whereas also the flip side is you can get a touchdown, but like that's kind of what makes this interesting. So for New England, give up a 10-yard gain and then get a 4-yard stop, you force Sam Darnold into obvious passing.
Yeah. And eventually that is what you want at all times, right? As well as he's played, you still want to make a team one-dimensional as possible. And we've just seen the ability of Kenneth Walker to really take over games. And like if Kenneth Walker gets going, like there's just no stopping this team because they're going to get Jackson Smith and Jigba in good matchup situations if you're paying too much attention to the run game, and then you're just dead. So, they have to find a way to make Seattle one-dimensional. Even if that dimension still causes a problem, you have to at least eliminate something. And that was something that, Belichick was so good at for all those years as a coach, and that's something that Vrabel's done really well. He's going to try and take away something from Seattle's offense and make them adjust. There's just a lot of counters for Seattle's offense still.
Yeah. And I mean, again, Clint Kubiak deserves a lot of credit for this, right? Because it's not just there's so many different types of running plays that these linebackers are going to have to be more locked in and figuring out where things go. There was a play I've referenced some of my videos where Kubiak runs play action, gets the Rams linebackers to step in, and then has those over the middle routes. The Rams linebackers turn around trying to cover the over middle routes, and then throws a screen pass to Kenneth Walker, who's now wide open and picks up like 15 yards. Like, there's so much misdirection with this team that, again, I actually wonder if the fact that the Patriots blitz a lot and like to mix things up is a plus here of you can try and generate those negative plays more than maybe a team that's just trying to survive those plays would.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is you have to get home. And then the advantage that blitzing like that does is that, if you're going to have a bunch of misdirection, those plays typically take a little bit longer to develop, right? So you have to make those decisions then very, very quickly because the pressure is getting to you, right? And so if Seattle's able to execute on those plays, which, Sam Darnold has gotten a lot better against the blitz over these last 2 years. That's part of what's made him a very, very good quarterback all of a sudden. So yeah, if he's able to, succeed in those situations, those are going to be something that is a huge advantage to Seattle. But yeah, I think New England has to stick with their game plan of bringing the pressure, bringing the heat, and you're going to lose a few battles, but the hope is that you continue to win the war in that style and continue to cause some turnovers because turnovers are going to be your bread and butter in this game.
Yeah, turnovers and sacks, I think, are the two things that you want. Obviously, everyone wants turnovers, but yeah, Darnold will. I mean, listen, I don't think he's just completely changed out of the past 2 weeks. Now, He might do the same thing again. He might not turn the ball over, but I do feel like if you can get him under pressure and you can make the windows tight, he's still going to try and take chances every now and then and throw a pass he shouldn't, right? Like that's still in his DNA. He still is that person. I think about Trevor Lawrence coming into the postseason where we're like, well, he's played great as of late. Maybe he turned the corner, and he didn't play horrible in that playoff game, but he turned the ball over twice, right? Like when you're that person, you're still that person. And the question is just, can the Patriots put him in those situations? And if they do put him in those situations, can he recognize the game he's in here and not make those key mistakes?
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, I think even if you go back to the Seahawks versus the Rams in the NFC Championship game, there was some lulls in that game for the Seattle offense. They had a couple back-to-back punting drives. They had a punting drive late or to start the third quarter and a punting drive to start the fourth quarter as well. If you look at those drives specifically and what the Rams were able to do to get stops, it starts with sacks. And he is prone to taking a couple sacks. And that pressure was a big reason why they were able to finally get a few stops in that game and have a chance to win it. And that's going to have to be the Patriots' pathway to victory because, like you said, he has played a lot better. I can't guarantee he's going to continue to play the way that he has, but he's playing lights out football, so you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. But winning in those big spot situations, at the bare minimum, you have to give your offense a chance. And that's what the Rams were able to do last week, even though they couldn't execute on those fourth down situations late in the game. They gave their offense a chance in those spots. And, the defense got the timely stops they needed. They just couldn't finish the drives after that. And that's going to have to be the complete football game that the Patriots want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's again, I think it's going to be a really, really interesting chess match there. Ready to move to the other side of the ball?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so talk about Drake May. Let's just keep going. Let's start off the same way of how's he going to throw in this game, and let's start off with the run game, Kyle, because this is, I think, a mismatch in the other way, right? This is something that you look at and say, Seattle Seahawks have just done a great job at stopping the run. They have good linebackers. They have, again, really like 7 good defensive linemen who can make plays. Jaron Reed, Leonard Williams, and Byron Murphy, underrated, maybe the best interior in football this season. Really good at both pass rush and stopping the run. And then the edge rushers can play. DeMarcus Lawrence is probably their best player, even with that great interior. And you have Derek Hall and Boye Mafe. So they have guys who can stop the run, and the Patriots haven't been elite at running the ball this year.
No, they have not been elite at it. I mean, we've seen some explosive plays from Travion Henderson. I think Ramondre Stevenson has turned into a bit of a steadying force at times. He actually leads the postseason in rushing yards, funny enough. But he chips in the passing game. He chips in the pass blocking game as well. But combined, that's just not like a elite duo. We haven't really seen this doesn't feel like it's going to be a Travion Henderson game, just because when he has the hole, he's going to make a big play out of it, but there's just not going to be a lot of holes for him to do his thing. And he's still processing the game at the NFL level. And so going against the best run defense in the league feels like it's not the time for him to have those situations and find that success. So that's going to be tough. So it comes down to Ramondre Stevenson. And yeah, it does feel like it's a mismatch there. This Patriots offensive line has played well this season. I think they could play a little bit better in the postseason. But they have some good players. They got all these guys on Morgan Moses, Mike Onyenwu, Garrett Bradbury, Jared Wilson, the rookie, Will Campbell, the rookie, much maligned rookie in the postseason. They all have run block very well throughout the regular season. And then they have Thayer Munford, who they bring on for a 6th offensive lineman. But it does feel like an uphill battle. I think the biggest thing New England is going to have to do in this game is something that it's probably been the best part of their offense in the postseason, that's scramble. They have to get yards in situations where Seattle's not prepared to defend the run. And that comes down to Drake May and his legs, which have been effective in this postseason, and they have to continue to be effective in this game. Yeah,
I still think it's important to get a regular run game going too, though, especially with the way that Josh McDaniels likes to run his offense. It is a lot of trickery as well. He likes to, the run play actions and things of that nature. The ground game is important in his offense. He's I think, more willing to let his receivers just go down the field and try and win than Kubiak is. But that is still part of his DNA as a play caller. And I don't think New England needs. I'd be really surprised if New England has more yards per carry in this game with their running backs than Seattle. Very surprised. I don't think New England needs to win that stat to win this game. But can they get 3 yards per carry? And I don't mean like average 3 yards per carry. Can they consistently get 3 yards in this game? I think that'll go a long way.
Yeah. Yeah, it sets the tone and at least makes Seattle respect that. Because, yeah, I mean, if those linebackers are moving an inch just to defend the run, then all of a sudden things happen over the top. Because this is already the Patriots this season have really found ways to kind of expose mismatches and expose, kind of aggressive coverages in a lot of way. This season, they have been very good against the blitz and they've been very good against man coverage. Those are, they've been elite at both of those. They've been good in general. It's a great offense this season, but they are especially good when you try and man up against the receivers and when you try and blitz this team. Seattle doesn't do either of those. They rush 4 and they sit in zone coverage. So you have to get these guys looking into the backfield, paying attention to the running game, because that's the only way you're going to have as much success as you need to in this game with those players, sitting in their zone coverage and rushing 4 and trying to get pressure.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what are you more concerned about as a Patriots fan? Leonard Williams going up against Jared Wilson or DeMarcus Lawrence going up against Will Campbell?
Leonard Williams. I mean, Jared Wilson has played decently well, I think, this postseason for the most part. Will Campbell has had his struggles. I think some of it has been a bit overblown, but I think, he definitely got his lunch taken from him by Odafe Owe. And, everyone was going to lose against Will Anderson Jr. that day. He played better against Denver. I'll give him that.
Sure.
But,
They threw 18 times, but yes.
Yes. Weather obviously played a factor. But yeah, so they both got big tasks though for young players in this spot. They're going against some of the league's best. And yeah, that's going to be the big thing is that they have to protect Drake May. Drake May has to protect the football better than he has this postseason. That was something he obviously did in the Denver game where, like you said, he didn't drop back a whole lot, but he had some good runs. So that's going to be a big thing. But yeah, these guys have to be able to win a few times in this matchup to give us the chance because, this Seahawks team is so good in coverage. If Leonard Williams and DeMarcus Lawrence are just winning off the ball, the Patriots offense is not going to have a lot of opportunities in this game at all because the Patriots this season have been better when Drake May holds the ball, which sounds counterintuitive, but he is better playing off the cuff, playing in these scramble situations and making big plays himself than he is in the quick read passing game at this stage of his career. So they have to be able to protect him to create those plays because that is what he's best at. And that's the only way you're going to win against the zone coverage like Seattle's with all these good players.
Yeah, is it a crazy take to say that the game could come down to those two rookies on the left side of the offensive line for New England? Like, obviously, it's going to come down to the quarterbacks, but like, I feel like in terms of like the biggest jump, I could easily see us talking about, like, wow, Drake May had time to throw all, he was able to do what he wanted. I could also see it going the complete opposite way and saying he never had time to get what he wanted going. Like, I think that could go either way in this game.
Yeah, it really could. And that's going to be the big thing. And you know what? They may lose a few times, right? Like they're probably going to lose at least once in this game, right? Leonard Williams is going to make a play. DeMarcus Lawrence is going to make a play. But it can't be consistent. It can't be every drive, Drake May is running for his life or under pressure or getting hit as he throws or, a fumble happens because they're in the backfield. Yeah, it's just it really comes down to they have to be able to win on a few drives and create a few consistent drives for New England to score. And then they have to take care of the football.
Right. And they have to be able to pass down the field. The Seahawks like to play zone coverage a lot, but they will play man on key downs. I feel like Stephon Diggs has kind of really gone under the radar here and I get that he's not Jackson Smith and Jigba, but again, he was a 1,000-yard receiver. He is a guy who, again, on key third downs, they do look towards. And you might say, well, him against Devin Witherspoon. It's not just going to be him against Devin Witherspoon. He's going to get matchups against Tariq Woolen. He's going to get matchups against Josh Jobe in this game. Like the Seahawks, they don't move guys really like that. They want occasional plays, but you will get opportunities where I think Diggs we'll talk about the rest of the guys in a second, but Diggs himself will have to win in certain spots.
Yeah. I mean, he is still the most important receiver in this offense for sure. He's someone that is versatile enough to move around the line of scrimmage too. Like you said, he could play in the slot, he could play on the outside, he could play the opposite side of Devin Witherspoon when they need him to. And yeah, he should. If he needs to win in those matchups where he has the matchup advantage, because they just need him to. It does feel like a game where the Patriots are so good at spreading the ball around and making defenses not like prepare for just one guy, because anybody can make a big play. We've seen Kayshon Boutte, we've seen Matt Collins in the regular season come up with some big plays. Even Hunter Henry has had some big games. It does feel like this needs to be a game where Stephon Diggs is getting like 7-8+ catches, because he just has to be involved. The defense has to pay attention to him, because then that's going to open up other plays for everybody else, where maybe you get another big like 50-yard pass to Kayshon Boutte where he's open downfield, because Diggs is commanding so much attention and taking away those safeties, taking away the slot guy, all these different things that may open those opportunities for everybody else.
Yeah, and I also think that there maybe is some matchups down the depth chart here for the Patriots, right? Like, so Tariq Woolen and Devin Witherspoon are both really good. Devin Witherspoon's the number one guy, but Woolen is also very good. Nick Emmanuel has been an awesome safety for them. Julian Love missed a good chunk of the season, but he's back and healthy and he's playing well. But, again, Josh Jobe is their number 3 corner, who's not bad for a number 3 corner, but, for the Patriots, if they get Kayshon Boutte going up against him, I think that might be where you try. I think you might look for the matchups look for who you're going up against instead of who you have.
Yeah. And if Emmanuel has obviously, been an absolute monster this postseason. They move him so much around the field and do all these different things. But yeah, I mean, it really kind of depends on the matchups in those. Like, Josh Jobe has played pretty well this season, like you said, but he's also 5'11". If he's going against Matt Collins in the slot, that has to be a situation where we're looking to Matt Collins on those plays, right? You have to get him an opportunity to make those plays in that spot. If he's going against Emmanuel, then I'm probably looking elsewhere in those spots. If he's going against a Tariq Woolen, who's also 6'4", I'm looking somewhere else in those plays. Those are just the different things the Patriots are going to have to recognize. And honestly, Drake May and Josh McDaniels are going to have to recognize at the line of scrimmage and make those adjustments and be prepared to make those plays and be able to target a guy you feel like has the matchup advantage. That is going to be the huge thing for New England in this game. And what this offense really needs, and it feels like it's been lacking this postseason, is being able to find matchup advantages and take advantage of them.
Yeah, and the thing too is they don't necessarily, again, Seahawks are going to play some zone. Kind of like I was saying, like McDaniels wants to run the ball, and then he wants to run kind of these zone busters off of it. So a part of this offense too isn't just about can Diggs beat Devin Witherspoon, but it's can Diggs run a good setup route to take on a double team to get Hunter Henry open? Or can Matt Collins, and Kayshon Boutte both sell to fake so that way Trayvon Henderson gets open in the flat? Like, it's a lot of stuff like that, which I think that it helps to have, like 7 guys who can play. We didn't bring up Demario Douglas, who's kind of like stopped playing, it feels like, but he had that huge play in the Texans game on the 4th down touchdown. So, like, there's just a lot of guys who can make plays.
There's a lot of guys on this team, and I mean that's the Patriots have built themselves this season in the offensive side of the ball on depth, and they have a lot of depth. Like you said, they have 7 receivers are probably going to be, or 6 receivers are going to be on the field in this game with the guys you mentioned, plus Efton Chisholm, who's mainly used in blocking situations, but he is probably going to see the field, and Kyle Williams in some speed situations too. You're going to see Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper in this game. You're going to see Thayer Munford in a 6th offensive lineman role. You're going to see Jack Westover in a fullback role. All of these guys are going to see the field essentially, and it's important that they all, do their job and make an impact. So it's going to be a huge battle for this team, and that is what they've built this team on this season, and then all those guys are going to have to make it play.
Do their job, huh? It feels like I've heard that before.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, not exactly true. Remember when Bill Belichick started chanting "No days off" at the parade, and everyone's like, well, "Dude, we're taking a day off. This is what we're here for."
Yeah, we're all drunk. No one's going back to work right now. He probably hates the parade. Like, all these people are taking off work right now. Unbelievable. Society's just falling apart.
I think so. Belichick probably had some takes.
I can imagine so. Wonder if he's picking the Super Bowl unlike Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's good. I think I think Tom Brady hates the Patriots.
I think he's more upset about how it ended than he's willing to admit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm joking a bit about the hate, but like I do think that like just watch him closely in Tampa Bay, he seemed to be like really having like fun in a way that you wouldn't have expected.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where it's like I think the whole like Kraft and Brady relationship was a little overblown.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think he's that close to him. I think he was close to his teammates. Yeah, and then yeah, I mean obviously, I don't think anybody would say Bill Belichick seems like the most fun boss. That's for sure.
What do you mean? The guy who chanted "No days off" at a parade isn't the guy that's a fun boss? Yeah. The Kyle, Drake, the schedule May. Let's talk Drake May. Again, we're talking about all these possibilities. Isn't there a possibility where Drake May's just awesome in this game and the Patriots win easily? Like, isn't that something that could happen?
Yes. I mean, he has played good defenses. Look, the postseason has not gone well. I've already admitted that. It's, the fumbles have been a huge problem. I did like the way he played in Denver at certain points. Some of the throws I wish he had back because he missed a few. But for the most part, that was, turnover adverse game, and he managed to do that. And that's what I wanted to see the development on from the last two postseason games. And honestly, the Texans game, he made 3 tremendous throws that ended up winning them that game. They don't win the game without the Kayshon Boutte throw or the Demario Douglas throw on 4th and 1. So it hasn't been perfect by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I would say it's been bad for his expectations. But it's got to be, he has gone against, Cleveland. He's gone against Buffalo twice, and he's gone against several defenses this season that are, project very well, and he's played very, very well against them. He's even beaten the New York Jets twice. I mean, that's really impressive.
Just saying, you said Cleveland, and then you went to Buffalo, and then several. So I think that, I don't know if we've seen him, but I don't know if it's the biggest sample size.
Atlanta, there's a few there.
That's good. He did have a really bad fumble in that game.
He did. But yeah, so I mean, look, he has gone against good defenses and won. We talked when they went into that Cleveland game, it was like, oh, this could be a problem. And then he went and had probably his best game of the year, honestly, besides the Jets game, which is, a junior varsity team. So yeah, I think he could absolutely go out and show out and have his best game of the postseason and do his thing. And all of a sudden we're saying, oh, Drake May is, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it really comes down to he is, he's got to play his best version of football, which he has in this postseason.
Yeah, I think I agree. What do you say to the people that are like, well, Patriots easy schedule, easy, and like it's been an easy schedule. It's been an easy pathway to get here. When I did my tier rankings, out of the top 4 teams in the AFC, it was Jacksonville, Buffalo, New England, and Denver. The only team that the Patriots had to play out of those 4 were missing their starting quarterback. So like it's been an easier pathway. It has. What do you say to people using that to discredit what the Patriots have done this season?
I mean, we're here. I mean, we beat the teams in front of us. That's the only thing. Yeah, I mean, it's been easy. I mean, obviously the numbers speak for itself. It's the easiest schedule since 1999. I don't think it's by accident. But at the same time, they've also looked really, really good in some of these games. The strength of schedule is one thing, but I don't think that takes into effect that they beat Carolina by 30. We've seen Carolina beat really good teams this season. They went and crushed them. Like I said, they took a Cleveland defense and put 30 on them pretty easily. And honestly, they were coasting at the end of that game. Otherwise, they would have scored more. There have been plenty of games where this team has looked awesome. They went to Buffalo and beat them in a primetime game too. So, yeah, I mean, it's been easy, but they've also looked really good in spots too.
Yeah, listen. The point of sports is to show what you can accomplish. If Darnold gets hurt week 1, the first snap of this game and the Patriots win, then you won the Super Bowl. Like it is what it is. Like that. Like all you can do is beat who you're in front of, and that's what they've done. I don't think you can. I think that it's fair to talk about when we talk about like all time great and stuff, but like that's not the point of sports. The point of sports is to win what's in front of you, and that's what the Patriots are trying to do. So I think I think all that stuff is a bit silly.
Yeah, I mean. Every other team in the AFC had a chance to win this postseason, right? So
why isn't Houston here?
Yeah, why isn't Houston here? If it was so easy for us, why didn't they beat us? What if if it was so easy for us, why didn't the Chargers beat us? You know, I
Mhm.
just I think everybody else had the same situation as us. We dealt with injuries too in the regular season, overcame them, and still won a lot of football games. So, you know, if someone does get hurt for the Seahawks and we win because of it, like that, I mean, that's going to be just ridiculous.
It'll be tough. Let's hope it doesn't happen. Before we get into picks, let's talk some special teams real quick. Special teams are interesting. So, kicking battle, Jason Myers, really good kicker for the Seahawks. Anders Borregales has been good this season, but is a rookie kicker. Is there any concern there?
Yeah. I mean, he didn't play well in the AFC Championship game, but obviously, like I think weather played a huge factor in that.
Yeah.
So he has got for the most part though, he has been very good this season. He was a good kicker in college. He's played in some big games, and I'm hopeful that he's able to rise to the occasion. You know, just make the kicks. Just make the kicks. That is a big thing. I am most worried about is our punter just not being good. Although Bryce Behringer just has this innate ability, it seems like, to kick the ball off the side of his foot, which may not be the worst thing against Rashid Shaheed. Both of these teams possess very good punt returners. And that is the one fact, that is another X factor in this game, is like, could Marcus Jones or Rashid Shaheed play a factor in this game in that way? Absolutely. We've seen Shaheed have touchdowns in this postseason. We've seen Marcus Jones come up with big plays in these spots. Those are obviously something that could play a huge factor.
Yeah, Marcus Jones has a touchdown as well, albeit on defense, not on special teams. But yeah, it was quite a return when he had that defensive interception. Kyle, I mean, if all to talk about Rashid Shaheed, it is worth mentioning Marcus Jones was the second team All-Pro. It wasn't Rashid Shaheed for a punt return. I mean, these are two of the best punt returners in football here. But like you said, the punters are very different. Bryce Behringer has struggled. Although I also wonder, like, maybe not kicking it that far in some ways isn't the worst thing in the world, because like Michael Dixon, he can kick it a long way. I believe that's the longest yards per punt in football this season, at least one of the 49 yards per punt typically. But if Marcus Jones is going to get pushed that back and have that much space, there is potential there for a big play. Whereas if Behringer shanks it, like you said, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. And the Patriots do have a lot of other good special teamers too, along with that. Like, obviously, Brendan Schooler is a guy who, is widely talked about and a very good special teams player. He's going to step up and make some tackles in this one too. So they have guys that they can go to in those spots that I depend on to make those plays, and I think can make those plays in special teams.
Yeah, both kick returners didn't start the season with the current team. Dearness Johnson's been returning kicks for the Patriots. He's okay. Shaheed's definitely been better in those situations. So, maybe, I mean, do they kick the Rashid Shaheed in the kickoff game here?
I hope not. Just kick it out of the end zone. I'll give up 10 yards.
Yeah. But that I mean, that's special teams, right? That's special teams value, getting the ball to 35 every possession.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
All right, Kyle. Well, let's get into predictions. What we're all here to this talk about. So, yeah, I mean, it's I think a very interesting Super Bowl. Here's what I will say. I think this is going to be a very close game. I think this is a game that could go either way. I do not agree that this is a lopsided game whatsoever. The Patriots belong here. We can have our debates as, do I think the top two teams were in the NFC Conference Championship or the NFC Championship game? I do. Do I think that means that they're, the Patriots would have lost to both? Not necessarily. Let's first start off with, why don't you guess what the community predicted? I asked the community, who do they think will win the Super Bowl? Who do you think they predicted, and by what percent?
I'm going to go, obviously, I think it's going to be the Seahawks. They are the favorites. I think it's going to be the Seahawks 67%.
Okay, almost nailed it. 65%. 67 was actually last week or 2 weeks ago against the Rams. 67% picked the Rams. So interestingly enough, more people are giving the Patriots a chance than the Rams, albeit only by 2%.
Yeah, that checks out. The Seahawks have just looked so good in the postseason that it's hard not to pick them, right? They have been that good for a reason.
I predict I take Kyle's job next year, but seriously, thanks for your contributions, Kyle. Yes, we all thank you, Kyle. Everyone, by the way, make sure to tune in midnight Eastern for on Sunday after the Super Bowl. We're going to do it midnight to give everyone time to come home for their Super Bowl parties and everything, and let me make videos and everything. That will be our last show. So series finale. Make sure everyone looks out for that. But Kyle, final prediction you will give on the Sideline podcast. I'm gonna let you go first. Now this is strictly just for conversation because it's only my prediction what it's going to come down to. But if it were up to you, if you had to decide who would win this game, to win the championship, who would you be picking?
I'm not optimistic, honestly. We have not played good in the postseason. We are a young team. We are an inexperienced team. It feels like we've been learning week after week things we have to do to win in these environments, and it hasn't been easy. And we've played in bad weather. We've played excellent teams. We played excellent defenses that have caused problems for us. So it feels like a huge uphill battle now. I think across the rosters, you would say Seattle's the stronger team. They are rightfully favored for a reason. They've been playing lights out in this postseason. All of that factors into Seattle being the stronger team right now and looking like the pick. But it is my last pick on the Sideline podcast history. And if you think I'm going to spend my last pick on the Sideline podcast history picking against my beloved New England Patriots, you are surely mistaken. The Patriots are at the point of destiny. We are going for this moment. It is Drake May's moment. We are going to have this game of a lifetime. We have been bigger underdogs before in a Super Bowl and come out on top. I'm looking at you, 2001 St. Louis Rams. So I'm going to go with the Patriots in a thrilling 27-24 victory that includes a plus 1,100 odds Efton Chisholm touchdown to tie the game at 24, followed by an Andy Borregales game-winning kick to send us into the history books to put Drake May's name on the map permanently in ink. Super Bowl champion, Mike Vrabel, Super Bowl winning coach, 27-24 Patriots. That's what I'm picking.
Sound like you're doing like a sponsor for a second with doing the odds there. I have to point out 27-24, a number that very similar. I was thinking that sounds familiar. I remember a 28-24 score that happened 11 years ago.
Yeah. Or that would be a good one. 28-24. Seahawks get the ball all the way down the 1 yard line. They run it with Kenneth Walker and then get stuffed. That's another good pick too.
I think that's the or fumbles or something. There is that. Kyle, my prediction again. This is what the whole season comes down to. Can I win I believe it's my 5th championship? You're still looking for your 2nd here, so we'll see what happens. I am going to pick the Seattle Seahawks to win. I'm going 23-19 is my final prediction. And for basically everything that you said, which is what you think, the Patriots can win this game. They absolutely can win this game. If Darnold turns the ball over too much or just takes too many negative plays, and if Drake May shows up, not to be too reductive, but if the quarterbacks, it's going to come down to the quarterbacks, I think, in this game, as it a lot of times does. In this scenario, I do think, though, that I think the Seahawks will have an easier time running the ball and an easier time throwing the ball and are better on special teams. So, Kyle, that doesn't leave a lot for the Patriots.
Yeah, well, we're better where it matters, in our hearts. No.
These are 2 fullback teams. Both teams have fullbacks.
We do have fullbacks. Fullbacks are back, they're saying.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it is, you look at it and, like, as good as the Patriots secondary is, you could say the Seahawks secondary is better. As good as the Patriots defensive lines played, you could say the Seahawks are even better there. Yeah. As good as like the Patriots passing game played this season, the Seahawks have played better in the postseason. And obviously the Seahawks do have a massive advantage in the run game. So yeah, I mean, it's very tough to find the roadmap for the Patriots victory unless the offense plays to the standard that they had in the regular season. Then obviously I think this is more of a game. If they play like they do in the postseason, yeah, I think the Seahawks could end up making this a blowout.
Yeah, should be a should be a fun one. I think this is going to be a good game. I don't think this is going to be a blowout like some people were saying.
I hope so. I'm hopeful of that. I just don't want to get blown out. I'm not overly optimistic of what this team can do in this one, but I'm picking the Patriots 27-24.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We'll see. I mean, maybe you could blow them out, Kyle.
That would be great too.
Patriots never won a blowout Super Bowl.
No, we've won by 10, and that was excruciating.
Yeah, and even that was like the Rams missed the field goal that would have made it a 7-point game late, and that basically iced it. Like that was, that was still a good game. So, well, a close game. I thought that game was great. This is my hot take: is that Rams Patriots Part 2? I had a great time. I love a low scoring game.
That was Matt Patricia's like shining moment. That he
I think the last time the Seahawks and Patriots played each other was his shining moment.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he came. Yeah, that's true. That's fair. Because he wasn't even on the team, but it was his game plan. But they stole the game plan from Detroit in that one.
Right, that's right. Yeah, because it was Flores who was calling plays.
Yeah. But no, I mean that was that defense. The way they manipulated Jared Goff in that game, I thought was really good. So yeah, I mean there was a lot of cat and mouse stuff with that one. That was and Jared Goff was the mouse in most cases.
Yeah, I think we got it. I don't think you need to explain it. Again, thank you to everybody. We will be back Sunday, midnight Eastern, to recap Super Bowl 60. A very happy or very sad Kyle will be joining us for his last show. We'll be sad either way, but but yes. Kyle, any thoughts? We're ready to get out of here.
No, I think we just about covered everything. We didn't talk about how the refs gave the Lightning the Stadium Series game, but that was fine.
Good Lord. Oh, right. But by not calling Swayman throwing a blocker on Hagel, which should have been 5 in a game. But yeah, don't care about that.
I mean, he was also like had a stick in his crotch. That's fine.
I mean, why was it there? Because Brandon Hagel got shoved into him.
No, he was going for trying.
We can debate it. What call didn't you like?
I mean, look. The Bruins have had a problem with penalties this season, and I think that there was things that were left, like the Corrali one where he covers the puck. He has a stick around his waist the entire time, and they just don't call the hooking. And then all of a sudden he falls on the puck and covers it. They call that. And then like McAvoy's thrown to the ground on a cross check, and that's just not called late in the game.
I was far away from the ice and saw none of it, but it was one of the best sporting events of my life. So I will disagree with everything you say.
Yeah. But obviously, it was a great comeback. Bruins did look really good at times. Both of those teams do look really good, honestly. So yeah. Bruins are young and feisty and playing good hockey. Wish they came out on top of that one though when they were up 5-1.
Yeah, that was a very fun. Hey, listen, I mean, I don't know. Give the Stadium Series home team a couple calls. I mean, what are we doing here?
If it was in Boston, Tampa Bay, Boston, you wouldn't be saying that.
No, of course not. Of course not. No. Hey, can't blame the refs. Sometimes you get the call, sometimes you don't. I've always said that. That's true. You go back. I've never once blamed the refs for a loss.
Have you not? I mean, probably not.
No.
I mean, we're pretty consistent about that. My blood was boiling with that one. That was just a frustrating loss. But this team does have to clean up the penalties anyways. Like, that's no excuse. Some of those penalties were just stupid.
I mean, hockey's just weird where it's like, if it's 7-0, you're like, what's going on? Even if, like, realistically, it should have been, like, 8-1 or something. Like that, hockey's just, like, a weird sport where it's just, like, they usually even it up. And so I would have been frustrated if I was a Bruins fan. But also, I mean, you can't cover the puck up. You can't hit the puck out of glass. Like, some of those were just, like, obvious penalties, too.
Yeah, the Swayman one where he knocks the puck over his head and it goes over the glass. It's like, oh, my gosh, come on. But yeah. Only cool people associated with Boston are Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. How dare you? What did I do?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're just not cool. I don't think I'm cool. I that doesn't mean that not necessarily mean you're like a bad guy.
I think I'm a pretty cool guy.
I think you are cool. I think that's an unfair take.
Yeah, see me at a wedding, you know I'm cool.
That's true. The ties don't go under heads out of nowhere.
That is true. Yeah, someone's got to be the first one.
Good. Kyle is kind of cool. Will you take that?
Kind of.
Okay. I think you have a higher opinion of yourself than I do of me. I think if someone called me kind of cool, I would just take it as a compliment.
Yeah, I gotta. Hey, we all gotta believe in ourselves. That's for
no,
sure.
I agree. Yeah, you're right. I think I agree.
We need people to boost each other more. Compliment. You are cool.
Yeah. Thank you, Kyle. You're cool as well.
Thank you. All right.
And so were the refs officiating the Stadium Series. Those were the coolest.
I don't know about all that. Yeah,
it was cold at the game.
I mean, it's been cold all weekend.
Yeah, I'm glad it's warming up.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's been miserable.
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm happy I've seen Kyle. the mood when I had spent $200 to go sit in, the weather in the 30s and seeing my team down 5-1 I wasn't feeling great.
Yeah, I can imagine that would stink. Oh, that is always funny to me when I see these people at the football games too for like postseason. It's like you're putting 7 layers on to go outside for these snow football games. You're losing, and then you have to like walk home, bundled up like the kid in the Christmas Story. Like that's miserable. Like that is just absolutely miserable. I can't think of a worse situation than that. Or I guess the only thing that'd be worse is like painting your face and going shirtless to a freezing cold game.
Yeah.
And then having to walk home like that.
Yeah, I feel like I saw no shirts off when it was 5-1. I saw a lot of shirts off when it was like 5-5 or even like 5-4.
Yeah, because if you lose that playoff game though, and your face is painted and you're shirtless, it's not like you can then go like, "Oh, I'm hungry after the game. Let's go to like a Denny's," right? You just have to go
have
home.
Comfort food then.
Yeah, you can't be in public like that. You just have to go home and like sit in misery.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about you can't do the after game McDonald's stop.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, I'm not hanging out anywhere after that. If my face is painted and I lose a football game, I'm miserable. I would never paint my face, but
you can't. It's just a game. Like hey, it's okay. Like you can't do that when you're wearing the full gear.
Yeah.
I was doing that when it's like, we saw this guy see a goalie fight. It's okay. Like, whatever. It was an experience. I was doing that when we were down. Like, I couldn't do that if I was face painted.
Yeah, face painted. That's a different level of dedication. Or those people that wear like the shoulder pads that are all bedazzled, which is another level of dedication because you have to spend hours doing that. I can't imagine like spending hours preparing my outfit for a football game. That's too much.
I feel like I feel like I can get that a little bit more.
The shoulder pads? I don't know.
I'm just saying I can get spending time on an outfit more than I can. The look itself is whatever, but
I mean, if it's like a really nice outfit, like bedazzled shoulder pads to me is not.
That's the issue. Is the time spent for quality of wear is not great.
Yeah, if it's like one of those, what's the who's the wife that does the jackets?
Kyle Juszczyk's wife.
Yeah, if it's like one of those jackets, I'd be like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. Michael saying, been a pleasure, Kyle. Yes, everyone, make sure just a few days. I gotta said it a few times. Say it one more time. Midnight Eastern. We will recap the Super Bowl and we will say goodbye to Kyle. Not for good. You'll probably be, you're still alive.
Yeah, I'll be around.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Right. You can. I don't know. Do you have? I guess you don't have a. Do you have a Facebook people can follow? How do people? There's no way. You're just off the grid, right?
No, I'm on Instagram. Technically, I still have my Facebook, but it's only for Messenger. I deleted the app. But yeah, you could get me on Instagram, I guess. K.012. Sorry, not O.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone can look that up if they would like. We will be back Sunday. Any final thoughts? You ready to get out of here?
No, I think we covered it now. That was a long tangent, so we can get out of here.
Yes, let's get out of here. Again, thank you everybody for watching and listening for all these years. We'll be back for our final show Sunday. Until then, have a good one.
Peace.